Governor, along those lines, folks at the DMV frustrated. You said earlier you're frustrated. Your direct message to the bad actors who did this.
My direct message, we're aware, and we're going to do everything to ensure that investigation identifies who the bad actors are and ensure that we have robust prosecution.
We're right at time. We're at an hour. While we have directors here, I want to respect their time as well. Does anyone have questions about constituent services, since we have all the directors here and other representatives from state government?
I have a question for the DMV. I know you mentioned the 2 weeks following the reopening, you guys are going to allow people who had appointments to be able to come in and still address that. How are you going to be able to do that, though, if this continues on for a couple more days and we just have lines and lines of people stretched out at the DMV?
That's a great question. So, currently, on Tuesday evenings, we release a book of appointments for all day on Wednesday. We're hoping that Wednesdays will be able to absorb the bulk of the customers that were not able to meet their appointments. And then, of course, we're going to be asking repeatedly for the community's assistance in making sure that when our online services come back up, please, if you can do your transaction online, free up our window capacity for the customers that don't have a choice but to come into an office, and that will dramatically reduce the congestion that we see in our offices when we reopen.
And you mentioned that there'll be walk-up. Is it going to be like a traditional walk-up where they may be, I guess, for lack of better terms, almost pushed off to the side a little bit?
What we're planning to do at this point in time is, again, depending on the days of the closure, to your point, is we would first fill up our Wednesday appointment slots that are available, and then on the other days, because we're still accepting the appointments that have been booked out 60 and 90 days in advance, we will fill slots with canceled appointments with the individuals that are waiting, and then we'll in order of priority of importance of the transaction that's being done, we'll either help with permits to extend the time out for them to come back, or if they're missing paperwork, the same thing, giving them courtesy to come back and get that done at a later time without penalty, and then in order of priority of importance, those transactions done first, and then asking the customers that we can't help right away to come back on another day.
If someone were to get a smog test done, is that information being sent to DMV currently, or is it still down?
That information, as of today, is being sent to DMV.
As a follow-up,
for those who you're honoring as walk-ins later on, what happens with people who are coming in as walk-ins who weren't one of the missed appointments? Is there a way to give priority if the ones who are missed weren't able to fill one of the slots?
Yes, again, depending on the transaction, we're going to take those to be served at our windows in order of priority. So if, for example, somebody needs a real ID to travel, we're going to get that in before somebody that needs to renew their registration or do a new registration, if we can help them with a permit and ask them to come back on another day.
Tim, just to clarify, you said that this was discovered noticed on Sunday morning and confirmed on Sunday night. Do you know how long the intrusion was going on before that?
So that's still something being evaluated. I don't think that we can speculate on that detail.
Yeah, but you just noticed it Sunday morning.
Yes, right. Tim Galuzzi's team at the Governor's Technology Office did identify some anomalous behavior in that period and worked to quarantine that environment and take the proper precautions to make sure that other systems weren't impacted. And that was some of the effort that was done on Sunday. And it looks like Tim may have additional to add there.
Yeah, that's correct. This is Tim Galuzzi. What we saw was initially anomalous network behavior. Upon investigation, troubleshooting of that anomalous network behavior, it was determined that it was a cybersecurity incident. And once that happened, we did enact our pre-planned cybersecurity action plan, and that was Sunday afternoon.
is there a reason that some agencies are siloed and some are not?
So, I think we work to modernize our systems, right? I think the governor has also helped roll out some of our more modern systems in recent weeks and months. We continue to make those investments in state infrastructure to ensure that we can have the best available platforms to be able to provide the services to clients, and that's going to continue.
Mr. Rob, earlier this month, there were two conferences, cybersecurity conferences held here in Las Vegas, Black Hat and DEF CON. Any indication at this point if that may have been why you guys were targeted here in the state of Nevada?
I don't think we can speculate on any of that.
There may be some out there who make the connection, your message to those folks.
I think we're still evaluating every component of this, and that will be ongoing. And I think there will be details to share further down the road, but that's not today.
We have time for one more.
I have one for the governor.
Okay.
Governor, what was compromised through the access points? Are they a result of an archaic tech system the state has?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm Tim Galuzzi, our IT director, very progressive, and the state has done some recent upgrades into the existing hierarchical system. But as you know how fast technology moves, right? And it's very difficult for a state organization to keep up with those movements, especially in the various acts. But in today's current situation, I feel comfortable where we're at. But obviously, we've been intruded upon, right? So we have to figure out why that happened, how it was able to happen, and ensure it doesn't happen into the future. Listen, everybody, thank you for your good questions. Thank you for your interest, for your listeners. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to express our current situation and what the state can do today and what we'll be able to do tomorrow. And we will have constant updates reference to each service as it comes online. It may be done via personal contact through my communication unit, or it may be done online. And when it rises to a certain level total public interest, we will again convene a press conference similar to the situation to provide additional information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, if you're just joining us, this was a live press conference out of Las Vegas where Governor Joe Lombardo addressed Nevadans for the first time since the cybersecurity attack Sunday. Governor Lombardo started the press conference addressing his absence at the initial press conference yesterday about the sophisticated ransom-based cybersecurity attack. He wanted to assure Nevadans that he's been in an integral part since the very beginning, meeting with experts and triaging, even during his trip yesterday to Elko, Eureka, and Ely for pre-planned events. The governor's office is currently evaluating the best path forward as they work to rebuild some systems across the state. The motive for this attack is unclear. The governor said the state does have insurance, but not much more was elaborated beyond that. As for how they're triaging these recovery efforts, top priorities included restoring access to the National Crime Information Center so that law enforcement had access to criminal reports and background checks. State employees and retirees are also getting paid per usual. He also said there is an expanded 211 line as well as Nevada211.org to get information if you're curious about resources available to you. He said, though, too much information and attention, he believes, has been focused on the attackers because he says we don't have all the answers yet and we can't compromise the investigation. So he's not just asking the media, but all Nevadans to be patient. A big concern, and we heard this from our viewers too, is what about personal information? Was it compromised? Tim Galuzzi with the governor's technology office says if personal information was compromised, and again, they don't know that to be true yet, individuals will be notified if they've been impacted. Obviously, this was a lot of information, an hour-long press conference with leaders from state agencies. So we will work to wrap up all that for you and bring it to you in our early evening newscasts. I'm Kristen Remington. Thank you for joining us for this special report of breaking news, and we now return you to 48 Hours in Progress.